Alright, so when we talk about inductive reasoning, there are 3 steps that we really want to focus on. So number 1 is look for a pattern. So if you look at some examples, you can determine a pattern. So like at the beginning when we had the rotations of those objects, it was turning 90 degrees. We knew that the next one would have to be 90 degrees further. Or with numbers, like if it was odds, it went like 1, 3, 5. The next one would be 7, then 9, things like that. Make a conjecture. So we're using the examples that we have to basically make a statement or make a guess at what we think is going to have next. What's going to happen next. So an unproven statement that is based on observations, that's what a conjecture is. So a conjecture is this bolded definition right here. So basically you can look at it and you can discuss it, and you might need to modify it as necessary. Now, the part that we're going to focus on for the rest of it is verifying the conjecture. So the conjecture, we have to verify it, and we need to use logical reasoning to verify that it's true in all cases. So if we make a conjecture, we are going to look at these patterns of triangles that we have going on. And in the first one, we're basically looking for how many segments there are. Well, there's 1, 2, 3. That was for one triangle. For 2 triangles, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it looks like there's 2 more than there was before. So that was plus 2. So let's see what happens on the next one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it looks like we went plus 2 again. So this one had 3, this one has 5, this one has 7. So now they're asking us, what if we had 5 triangles? Well, this was 3 triangles, so that means that 4 would be adding another 2 or 9, and then 5 would be at 11. So there would be 11 segments. Based on that pattern, I can make that conjecture. Let's make a conjecture. So now we're going to talk a little bit about proof, and this is where we are actually going to prove our conjecture if we can, or we're going to be able to unprove our conjecture. So we're basically taking our time here to figure out if what we're saying is true or not. So in order to prove that a conjecture is true, we need to prove that it's true in all cases, not just one case, but every single case. So this can get a little bit tricky, from time to time. Something that's a little bit more manageable is when we find one example that shows that it's false. This is called a counter example. So quickly before we move on to what counter examples are, I want to show you a proof about how the product of any two odd numbers is an odd number. Well, we can say that an odd number can be written like 2n plus 1, where n could be any number, because if I plug in n as 0, I get 1. If I plug in n as 1, I get 3, 2, I get 5. So if I take 2 odd numbers where I'm not quite sure what they are, I get 2n plus 1 times 2n plus 1. Well, I'm going to FOIL this through, so I get 4n squared plus 2n plus 2n plus 1. 4n squared plus 4n plus 1. Well, because these are multiplied by 4, I know that they're always going to be even and even. So an even plus an odd has to be equal to an odd. So therefore, we have an odd number. So that's how we would prove that case that we had before. So now we're talking about counterexamples. So a counterexample is just anything that makes this false. So the difference between the difference of 2 positive numbers is always positive. So I need to just think of 2 positive numbers. So I'm going to choose 24 and I want to choose 32. And so the difference of them, 24 minus 32, this ends up being negative 8. So it is not always positive. So therefore this is false. The sum of two numbers is always greater than the larger number. So let's think of two numbers. Well, I want to do -6, and I'm doing the sum, and I want to do 8. So -6 plus 8 is 2. Well, 2 is not larger than 8, so therefore this one is false also.